Thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening me. Mike Pompeo, it's superhero movie time. Take the GDP of a developing country and throw it at implausible characters created in the 1950s to entertain 13-year-olds in between them practicing ducking and covering in case of a nuclear attack. Add some CGI developed by soon-to-be-made redundant by artificial intelligence animators, and try to make it of interest to a contemporary audience whose attention span is so shriveled it could get a side gig as Emmanuel Macron's foreskin. Just a hint. That's French for hunch. I mean, what could possibly go right, eh? First of all, I'd like to give you full disclosure. Give me an address and I'll send over the images. No, I was referring to the fact that I don't know that much about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The thing is, I was able to lose my virginity quite young in my life. I was in my late 30s. So I just never really developed an interest. I hope that doesn't sound boastful. It took me ages to save up for a sex worker, and although when we made love it was probably the greatest 35 seconds of my life, I still feel perhaps I may have rushed into it too soon, especially after the ointment came into play. So I will own up to having never heard of any of the characters in this film apart from someone called Captain America, a flustered and annoyingly bearded superhero who represents an obscure country just south of the Canadian border whose name escapes me. Everyone else was as new to me as a newly birthed foal. Some of them even seem to be covered in placenta, or perhaps I may just need to wipe down my laptop screen again. I watched the film in the cinema, but on my laptop, just to annoy everyone. I think the general premise of the film is that these are superheroes, but not as you've seen them before. They have just as many quirks and foibles as the rest of us. At first, my general impression of the main characters in the film was that the director had just gone into his local Starbucks and hired the entire staff as his cast. Imagine a group of superheroes with massive, crushing unpaid student loans and you're almost there. Imagine the Avengers on food stamps, or the Fantastic Four on antidepressants. The X-Men, but some of them secretly watch Fox News and nod their heads. Everyday people, but with the ability to wear skin-tight lycra with nary a skid mark in view. Also, each of the characters seems to be representative of a particular generation in order of importance, which means in order of who is more likely to purchase the accompanying merchandise of the film. The lead character is Yelena Belova, a sulky, world-weary member of Generation Z, which is a petty and pedantic way of saying Gen Z, but I can't help myself. This is someone who, in the course of their life, never ever had the chance to have their own MySpace profile, and doesn't even know who Tom is, or why he was sitting at that desk. A person whose life is ruled by the tyranny of the like button, even more than us older folks. She has SSSR's eyes with her breakfast cereal and can self-diagnose over 37 neurological disorders without breaking a sweat. She is also Russian, although I've subsequently found out that this is not considered a neurological disorder. The next youngest superhero is Ava Star, or Ghost, a member of the Thunderbolts on the cusp of Gen Z and millennialism, who can pass through objects such as air, water, mist and condensation. To be honest, I found her to be the least impressive superhero, as I too can phase through air, mist and condensation, and even water when it's my summer equinox bath day. There is a chance that she may also be able to phase through other more impressive substances, but I missed it as I had gone to the washroom to partake my own recently purchased substances that I planned to use to help keep me fully conscious during the rest of the blockbuster. Next up is Captain America, John Walker, the obligatorily annoying millennial. Obligatorily. The assistant manager of the Starbucks, if you will, with the aforementioned annoying beard, who exudes that flustered sense of entitlement we all know and love from his peers. Then, last but definitely quite least, is Alexei Shostakov, or Red Guardian, member of the Thunderbolts, Russian super soldier counterpart to Captain America, father figure to Belova, and a typical half-witted Generation X cretin. He was definitely the character I had the most in common with. I should say there are a lot of Russian characters in this film, and they all have names that sound worryingly like cheap vodka brands one drinks as a teenager. Romanov, Vostokov, Shostakov, Hold My Testicles and Kov. You know, the type of vodka that has led you or someone you know either to impregnate or be impregnated by someone else. Also 3 sheets to the wind on potato-derived ethanol. Not that I'm knocking it, after all, it's the only way our species survives and propagates itself in many cases. Finally, there's someone from the baby boomer generation who deservedly is the major villain of the entire film, mainly because she's the only one who seems to be a homeowner. She's also the director of the CIA, which translates as high-functioning psychopathic malignant narcissist with the blood of thousands on her hands, who is also a homeowner. You decide which is worse. She's played by Rachel from Friends, or Kramer from Seinfeld, or someone from the 90s. She's the one from Seinfeld that didn't go on an N-word-laden rant in a comedy club that was captured on video. Hopefully that narrows it down. I'm pretty sure at least one of the cast members on Seinfeld did not go on an N-word-laden rant in a comedy club that was captured on video. Perhaps she did do this in private many times. I just don't have any proof that she did. She does seem like the type that would do this type of thing, so I think it's better for everyone's safety to assume she did do this and would be willing to do it in the future. I mean, I don't wish her any harm, but once everyone realizes what she's probably done and what she almost certainly will do in the future, the sooner we can end her career, the better. I'm putting you on notice, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. The character she plays has dark hair with a prominent silver-grey streak, which makes her bear a striking resemblance to Tulsi Gabbard, who coincidentally happens to be the United States Director of National Intelligence at this very moment. She also has a henchman who's the spitting image of Donald Trump Jr. So in some ways it seems like the filmmakers are trying to create an allegory that suggests the current Trump administration is in a deathly struggle with the staff of a Starbucks, which is not too far from actual reality, I think you'll agree. I do have a cold, and that's why I sound nasal, and like I have a frog in my throat. Sorry to any French people listening. Watch out for part 2 coming soon.